Hey everybody, it's Connor with Honor. Just wanted to reach out to you and show you the Skylar building up here, the new construction by Toll Brothers. This is Josh Calderon. He and I are going to basically have a conversation on the best ways that you can approach new housing when you get ready. And we're not going to pry him out a lot of secrets, but I'm going to do my best to see what I can get him to talk about today. How are you, Josh?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
You've been selling new residences for quite a while. I was digging through my email that I actually found correspondence, not this, but somewhere else, and you mentioned Plum Canyon. That would be Sky, or up at the top there.
It was our Plum Canyon community.
That's right.
We had a total of 4 different collections up there, and that was years ago. So
I've been. So tell me, how you've been doing this for how long?
I have been in new home sales for almost 20 years.
Wow.
It's been a very long time. So
some people watching may think that new housing is easy for somebody that has a real estate license to get into. It's a whole different animal. The actual real estate resale is easier because you don't really have a quote-unquote boss. But in new housing, there's a massive pecking order. For Josh to be able to have been in new housing for 20 years, it's really a credit to his abilities and the way that he's viewed by the corporate world, and also by, which more importantly, the consumer buying new housing.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about this particular tract with Toll Brothers.
So at Skylar here, we started with 85 home sites. We are now down to 5 homes left. We have a total of 3 different designs that we have offered here. They range in square footage from about 3,600 square feet up to almost 4,000 square feet. Right now we have some great opportunities to take advantage of some savings on the 5 homes that we have left. Going into the future, we did secure 92 more home sites, so we will have an extension of Skylar. We're calling it Skylar 2. We're super creative with the name. So Skylar 2 will be coming online hopefully towards the end of February, so in the next couple of weeks.
And that's also going to be out here?
That'll be out here as well in the 5 Point community. We're going to continue offering the 3 designs that we have been offering, and then we're also going to introduce 3 new designs that nobody has seen yet. They're actually going to be a little bit larger than what we have now. Those will go up to about 4,200 square feet. Go ahead.
Prospective price points on, tell me price points now on these residences, and then if you can talk about it, the ones that are going to be coming in the future.
So the homes that I have remaining here, price points are around 1.6 to 1.7. Those homes do include roughly about $200,000 to $250,000 in amazing options and upgrades that are already rolled into that price. Skylar 2, we're anticipating prices starting around the 1.5 range and then going up from there.
With this particular tract that you built, the first Skylar, the original, how many phases was that in total? And if you can remember, and I'm sure you can, how many units were released? And how does all that work, maybe?
So Skylar 1 is a total of 14 phases. And each phase is anywhere from 5 to 8 homes per phase. And then as far as releases go, we sell through one phase, then we release the next, sell through that phase, release the next, and so forth.
The price increases, and I would assume each phase release maybe carried a little bit of a price increase?
Correct, yes.
What did that look like? Can you quantify that?
When we started here about 2 years ago, we started around the $1.3 million range. So we've had some great success here. There's been a lot of demand for the product that we offer, just because Toll Brothers, we do things very different. These are homes that you're not going to find with other builders. And not that other builders are bad, we're just different.
I've noticed that with the Toll Brothers houses I've seen, the attention to detail is impeccable. And little things.
Sure.
The way that the corners are rounded in some cases, the way that the doors are all framed, the way that there are other things that just become standard, where in a lot of other builders you might find things that basically purchasing a square rectangle made of sheetrock and paint.
Sure, yeah.
And some of the other ones, this actually has a lot of character coming into it at the base price.
Well, and our architects do a great job of really kind of how people use a home nowadays, and then they design the layout based on how we use a home nowadays. Because how we use a home today is very different than how folks used a home even 20 years ago, 40 years ago, and so forth. And then as far as features that we include, we do things like 8-foot interior doors, not only on the first floor, but we carry that up to the second floor as well. Not every builder does that. We use a 5.5-inch baseboard throughout the house. A lot of other builders will use a smaller baseboard, sometimes as little as a 2.5-inch baseboard. So Just little things, little details like that that really kind of add to that quality that we offer. Beyond those included features, we also offer a lot of options and upgrades that really give the home more of that custom feel. So with Toll Brothers, you're able to get kind of the sort of a custom feel to the home without the headaches and the cost of building a custom home, if that makes sense.
It does. With regard to purchasing one of these residences, some sellers of property owners currently having a mortgage, currently having a house they live in, this, for most of the people, at least I know, this could be a step up, like that next level house. Sure. How do you handle a contingent sale if, in fact, somebody says, you know what, gosh, I really love this, I really want to live here, I have to sell my house first? How do you guys deal with that?
And that's a great question. So we do see a lot of folks that are in that situation. So we won't write our contract contingent on the sale of another property, okay? With that being said, for building a house from the ground up, our build time is about 10 months. So we go into contract, we're able to secure the price on the Toll Brothers home. Then our buyer knows they have really, 8 months to get home listed and get it sold so that they can liquidate those funds and have it ready when this new home ready to close escrow.
So it's almost a miracle to have a concurrent closing, if you will, I would guess.
Sure, yeah.
Because, let me ask this about scheduling with regard to delays. Have you seen a lot of that with regard to the manpower from the city, sending out the inspectors and such?
We've seen very few delays here, and the few delays that we've seen, it's usually maybe a week or two at most. So we're not seeing extensive delays. We're not seeing things delayed for months at a time, and it's not every house. It's only been, I'd say, a handful of homes out of the, at this point, we've delivered, over 60 homes at this point. So,
wow. Any feedback, negative or positive, maybe, if we can throw that wrench into it?
In regards to what?
Maybe the people that actually have moved in, maybe discovering certain things, besides the typical, maybe something that you might want to mention?
Feedback as far as the 5-point community goes, the folks that have moved in, they love the community here. They love the amenities that are offered. As far as our go, every once in a while we'll have a buyer that comes back and says, I wish I'd done this option. I wish I would have selected this option instead, stuff like that. But really where my partner, Marcia, and I, we really kind of sort of a better term, there's a lot of hand-holding that goes into this process. So we kind of gather what their wants are, we gather what their needs are, and then we kind of help direct them to certain things that make their house feel much more like the home that they really want.
I know people are going to ask this question. Couple, Mello-Roos, extra taxes, and to me about the financing options as well with a lender that I assume Toll Brothers is working with.
Sure. So there is Mello-Roos out here. With most new home communities in California, it's going to be very hard to get away from Mello-Roos. Here at this community, the Mello-Roos and direct assessments, which direct assessments you're going to have pretty much anywhere in LA County. Those combined come out to about $7,000 for the year, and that's on top of a 1.17 tax base. So that's a lot of numbers thrown at you. All in, if you're looking sort of like an overall percentage, it comes out to about 1.65 roughly.
Okay, so that's how somebody factor in to get a guesstimate on what their yearly taxes would be.
Yes.
And then as far as being associated with a lender, are there incentives with maybe the lenders you offer?
Absolutely. So with the homes that we have remaining in Skylar 1, we do have some incentives where we can offer a buy-down program. We can also just use some of the money as a price reduction. So really what our lender will do, which is Toll Brothers Mortgage, they'll meet with the buyer, they'll take a look at the incentive amount we have, and then they'll kind of walk them through different scenarios and say, we can use the money this way, this is what it would do to your payment. If you prefer to use the money this way, this is the payment you'd be looking at. So our lenders do a great job of really kind of figuring out the best for that buyer on how to utilize the incentive money that we have available.
I come here, I love the house, I want to proceed. What would you tell Connor? Where do we start?
Sure. So what we would do is we would take $1,000 deposit. Let's say we find the house that works for you. You say, I love it. This is my dream home. Let's move forward. We take $1,000 deposit that takes the home off the market for you for 3 days. We would have you sign our reservation agreement. We would go over disclosures. That way you have a clear understanding of what you're purchasing and what our expectations are, what our responsibilities are. We would then have you go through the approval process with our preferred lender, which is Toll Brothers Mortgage. Once the pre-approval is done, have you come back to sign the purchase agreement. At that point, on the homes that I have remaining now, we would collect an additional 5% deposit. We would have you sign the purchase agreement, and at that point, we move forward. All deposit money that we collect, we apply all of that towards your down payment.
Very good. Tell me about the next phase, the Skylar 2. I would love to come and do this again.
Sure.
At that community when it's new so the people could watch. Final, real estate agents that might be watching, I have people actually watch. It's insane, but they do, right? So they're probably going to ask, because you see when the market gets hot for sellers and the commissions, all that stuff starts to become in question. But even at new housing, some new housing, and I could name those, but they stop. They will not cooperate with a real estate agent bringing in buyers. And I'll be frank with you, Josh, I was never one of those that would just set it and forget it. I would never just sign my clients up and then move on and go about my merry way and hope for that check to come in. I'm very active in the process, and I know a lot of agents are. What is there an offering for you? Do you do contribute to agents if they bring a client?
Absolutely, and we're happy to do that as a company. So here at Skylar, we $25,000 to $30,000 in commission depending on the home. And that's something that we plan on continuing into the future. So even when a few years back when the market was white hot, we were not one of those builders that, closed the pocket, that we're not paying agents anymore, but we want you to bring us, your business. Happy to pay that. We're happy to partner with agents. We see, local agents as a part of our business as well. And we want to make sure we kind of harbor those relationships into the future. So.
The question I get with regard to that, and I'll finish with this, is there a detriment to a buyer in any way financially to bring in their own agent versus doing it themselves?
Absolutely not. So whatever incentive they would have received, they would get it whether they have an agent or not. We don't play that game. So
very fair.
Okay.
Thank you so much for time.
You're very welcome. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Josh here at the Skylar with Toll Brothers. And thank you so much for watching. Fantastic show. If you have any questions, just send them to me in email format. You can find me online at connorwithhonor.com. And in the show notes, I will put Josh's contact information. Might not be bad if you say you saw the video. I have to be with you, though, I believe, the first time.
That's correct.
When I show the residence. So if you wanted to purchase something, I have to be here coming in and saying, I'm good friends with Connor. Unfortunately, this doesn't work. I have to be here with you that first time. And that goes with all the other agents and all your buyers out there. Understand, if you're going to use an agent, make sure they're there with you that very first visit. That's just the way it works. Thank you so much for watching. And Josh, you're awesome. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Take care.